Boom.
Boom, boom, boom. I want you.
Let's spend the night together from now until forever.
Yep, that's copyrighted. We can't do the rest of the song now.
No, can't do the rest.
Looking the lyrics up now to sing it because I don't know the rest.
Everyone remembers the first part.
Don't do it.
So, welcome everyone to the final of the Matrix trilogy before they make the fourth one for some reason. Did you guys hear that sound?
What sound?
What's that sound?
That's the sound of a train wreck happening. That is the final of the three Matrix movies.
We gotta introduce ourselves.
Well, gosh, you're so fast about this. I'd like to have that like soft opening that has nothing to do with what we're actually talking about for like the first 2 or 3 minutes, and then do the real opening.
Okay,
well,
all right. So scrapped opening. Let's go.
So this is the Garbage Media Podcast, and we'll be doing the final movie of the Matrix trilogy until the fourth movie comes out at some unknown point in the future.
Yes, this is going to be one hell of a train wreck.
Like I said, it's a train wreck. Let's get through it and move on. So let's start the movie. Neo apparently can just use Wi-Fi to enter the Matrix now, which is nice. Don't need to use...
He's chosen one, so he should be Wi-Fi compatible.
That's true. He doesn't need to use those old phones, the old-timey phones anymore.
He's like in a coma outside the Matrix, but he's also in the Matrix, but not the Matrix. It's
like apparently there's like a thing outside the Matrix you can be in, and that's where the Merovingian guy has been all this time, I guess. I don't really get it.
I like to think of it as Matrix Limbo. You're neither in the Matrix nor in the real world.
Is it like a backup server that the Matrix just has when it needs to like reboot?
They say it's a subway station named Mobile Avenue, which is an anagram. Mobile without the E at the end is an anagram from Limbo, because we know how much the Matrix likes its anagrams with Neo and One.
That's true.
Yeah, it's very true.
But Wikipedia for the Matrix says it's a transition zone between the Matrix and the Machine City.
But it has to like physically exist as like a server of some kind.
Yeah, it's the Ethernet cord,
I guess.
So the Machine City would know about this, and it could eliminate the exiled program. It would have to know about the area.
What if it's like a back door?
Ooh, yeah, I didn't think of that one.
Smith
is all the hacking. I think we're looking too deep into it. Honestly, we're trying to explain plot conveniences away.
Yeah, I thought we were just going to kind of bash on this.
Yeah, we are.
Well,
how come when we were in the train station, how come the train master guy was like all powerful in that place? He said like, I built this place, so I'm God and you have no power here. But like, Neo's supposed to be like a hack code or some shit. He can see the Matrix. Like, at the least you'd think you'd be an equal match for the train man. But train man's like, nope, I rule.
Yeah, because it's outside the Matrix. I don't get it. It just seems like convenient.
Neo never actually in the Matrix. He technically doesn't have that quote unquote power that he has.
It makes sense though if the train conductor has got it, why he can just shoot infinite bullets out of his 6-shooter.
Right, that made no sense at all.
I would have to go back and count, but he shoots like 14 or 15 bullets out of his 6-shooter without ever reloading. So
like that was kind of I know it's the Matrix and all, but come on.
But it's not the Matrix. They specifically say that this area that they're in with the train station is not actually part of the Matrix. It's its own separate, like, in between.
Shooting in an actual train station in the Matrix.
Oh man,
they were kind of vague about it. Just all we know is that he works for the Merovingian, and that's how these programs get in and out of the Matrix that they don't want the Matrix to know about.
So then Seraph and Morpheus and Trinity go to the Merovingian at Club Hell. And that's where we get that nice little scene of Trinity holding a gun to the Merovingian's head.
That was pretty cool.
And they're trying to get him to release Neo from Limbo.
So we're not even going to discuss the coat check area?
Coat check area.
Or-
Oh, where they get to the door of Club Hell and the bouncers are there, and the guy's like, "You'll get into this place over my big dead ass." that's a thing that somebody wrote, got paid to write, and an actor got paid to read in a movie. You'll get in over my big dead ass.
Hey, $20 is $20.
He didn't even die. Seraph just knocked his ass out. Morpheus and Trinity killed the other dude.
That's true. They got in, and it was not over his big dead ass, just his big ass.
I guess he's like Batman. He doesn't kill people.
Was that when they were going to Club Hell and when they were going to deal with the bouncers? Was that where we had the upside down guys fighting?
It was after they got out of the elevator, and Seraph was like, "Well, if we're lucky, there'll only be one guy there." But
Oh yeah, and if we're unlucky, there will be many men. And there was like 5 or 6, I guess. So I guess they were medium lucky.
Semi-lucky.
Yeah, like that setup, that was a perfect setup to have them open a door and just have a room full of fuckers. And then you just see like maybe 5 on screen
Yeah.
right away when the doors open.
So it's all good. Apparently being on the ceiling makes it harder to get shot at.
They have the high ground then.
They can't defeat them because they have the high ground. Remember, they only get taken out after they get off the ceiling. Every one of them dies after they stop being on the ceiling.
They all died when they were standing up straight.
Yep. They were no longer on the
that's
ceiling
where
when they were killed.
That's where they fucked up. They turned off gravity control.
Yep. They made a mistake of getting off the high ground.
They also fucked up in not trying to take out Trinity first, because she's the only motherfucker that can shoot a damn gun and hit something.
Yeah, Morpheus with double Uzis could not get a single shot to hit anybody.
And his guns had fucking scopes.
Yeah, that's true. He had like the biggest, baddest ass guns out of all of them. He had them akimbo. And I think there was one dude that got shot, but you couldn't quite tell if it was Morpheus that shot him or Seraph. Trinity, on the other hand, is just dual wielding like pistols, and she's knocking motherfuckers out.
Yeah, she definitely got most of the kills.
Yeah, she's spec marksman for sure. Dodge this.
But yeah, I did feel like there should have been a lot more than like 5 guys in there. They should have just opened the door and there should have been like 50 dudes standing there with guns, is what that scene should have been.
50 war-hardened motherfuckers just cleaning their guns or some shit.
Yeah, and they just all look like, wait, what? Yeah, it did feel like a little anticlimactic because they really hyped that up, that fight scene up that we were expecting to happen.
50 more big dead ass motherfuckers.
And then, of course, we get to the Merovingian, and then he starts talking about how love is illogical or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, philosophy and blah, blah, blah. Get it over with.
I'm perfectly okay with skipping over so much of these big talking head moments in the movie.
Yeah, the talking head moments are boring. They just sit there and espouse philosophy and just blow smoke out of their ass.
At least, like, with Revolutions, there was plenty of talking head moments that were total snooze fest, but at least they were broken up with cool action sequences. But in this movie, the fight scenes they're not very impressive.
No, they're not.
The upside down fight was creative, but not very well executed.
Yeah, the choreography feels a lot weaker compared to the previous 2 movies.
Yeah. The coolest, like, action-oriented thing I think I saw in this movie was when Morpheus and Trinity were following Seraph to get to the Merovingian, and they run through this, I don't know, the train stop gate thing, and they all just run through it, but Trinity does, like, a flip through it. And I'm thinking that was entirely unnecessary, but at least it looked cool.
I thought the same thing.
It was just one little flip, and I thought that was cooler than the entire fight scene that followed.
That's because it came out of left field. No one saw it. It was just a random flip, and it's like, oh, okay, that was nice. You weren't expecting it.
Now,
And they recycle Trinity's freeze time jump kick for that fight
They
that
do it
followed
in
too.
every movie because it was so iconic in the first movie. So every movie she's got to do it at least once.
now hear me out on this. What if, when the train man took Trinity to go pick up Neo, and she gets out of the train, he closes the doors and drives off? Like,
I mean, he should have.
fucking done.
He really should have.
Like what would they have done then? I don't think Morpheus and Seraph would have been able to, really do much of anything.
Hey, man, they made an agreement with the Merovingian. I guess.
Yeah,
kind of, sort of.
But the Merovingian's been known to go back on his deals.
Which is why I was so confused when they gave up their guns to him. He's like, I promise to give you safe passage if you give me your guns. And they're just like, okay. And I'm like, why would you give up your guns? This man has lied to you multiple times before. He's not trustworthy. And you're just like, sure, whatever.
Has he lied to him before?
I mean,
technically, yeah, but technically, no. It's the Merovingian. He's vague, but not as vague as the Oracle.
I like how we get Oracle 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yes. New Oracle actress.
But technically it's the Oracle, it's just she's in a new body. I don't really understand how it works.
Yeah. They explained it away in the movie somehow.
But I mean, technically she's just code, so it's just kind of representing how her code looks, I guess, in the Matrix is all she's really doing, so it makes sense. Can we talk about, though, how you jumpstart the ships? I don't get it. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah, the two ships meet up with each other. They find Niobe's ship, and she's like, you can put all that shit away, boys. All she needs is a jump. And then they jump it with, like, a crank, like an old Model T crank, but on the inside of the fucking thing.
And the whole scene leading up to it looked like something out of Aliens. They, like, get out of the ship, and they're looking around. They're like, okay, like, the robots could be around here anywhere, and they have the futuristic sci-fi guns, and then you're just waiting for the alien to pop out.
Yeah, the guns even looked like something out of Aliens.
I actually liked that scene until they went to go jump the ship, and I'm like, what is this?
Yep. They could have had an interesting little aside where, like, oh god, what do they call them? A sentinel or two just, like, spot them, and it's just, like, a handful of humans against a big-ass sentinel, and they got to bring it down or something.
Yeah, it would have been.
But nope, they just have the stuff, they jump the ship, and off they go. Because it's just, like, busy work that we have to sit through.
They do kind of build up the tension, like you're waiting for something to happen, and then nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like you feel like the jump scares coming in a scary movie right there, and then there's no jump scare, and you're like, oh, okay, moving along.
And then Bane wakes up, the guy that Smith took over in the real world from the last movie, and he's got apparently he's been cutting himself, which I think means Smith was cutting himself to
I think so.
Figure out what it feels like.
Yeah,
but there were like a lot of cuts. You think Smith doesn't even like being in a human body. Like he just hates like how fragile and smelly it is. But then he like cuts him. I could understand like a machine like cutting itself once to be like, oh, what's pain like? But then he does it like 8 more times on his arm.
I think he does it because he just hates being in the body, the human body. And he's just like, oh, I hate this. I'm just going to keep cutting myself. Why do I have to be stuck in this little flesh sack? This is so annoying. When am I going to be done with this mission? I want to go back home.
Confirmed Agent Smith's an emo.
Yes.
However, the guy that played Bane did a spot-on job of essentially impersonating Hugo Weaving's Smith.
Yeah, he did a good job of doing like the little tics that he has, and just like the way his mannerisms and the way he speaks was very well done.
Yeah, he nailed that candor.
He probably shadowed Weaving for like weeks just to get everything down.
I don't know if you'd have to go that far. He probably just watched the first Matrix movie once.
I was kind of in the same boat.
I knew what I was supposed to do, but I couldn't. I wouldn't. I was compelled to stay.
And then smile after you finish saying that.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I think Bane's performance, or well, the person that played Bane, like that was honestly probably the best part of the movie.
He's really an underrated actor, I think, in this movie. Like whenever people talk about the Matrix, even the sequels, it's all about Morpheus, Neo, Smith, even like Niobe. But yeah, Bane was there to be like, okay, you just have to like be another actor entirely. You just have to be Hugo Weaving, and he does.
Yeah, and apparently he can kill a person with a scalpel in seconds.
He's just that
Yeah,
good.
he Bane kills the medical attendant on board the ship by stabbing her with like a 1-inch scalpel, and she's dead before she hits the floor. Like hits her in the guts, dead by the time she hits the floor. Meanwhile, Trinity, on the other hand, gets impaled by a half dozen pipes at the end of the movie, and she can talk to Neo for minutes.
So,
Yeah.
spoilers. Yeah, everyone's watched it, but it's still funny.
I mean, we're kind of in depth, quote unquote, in depth discussing the whole movie. Spoiler warning.
Yep. Now that we've done spoilers after you've done the big spoiler, everyone's seen the movie. It's when a movie reaches a certain age,
It doesn't even matter.
doesn't
It's
matter.
a shit movie. I do not care if I spoil anyone on this movie. It sucks.
I can't wait till we get to the Neil Brain movies, and then you spoil all the Neil Brain movies.
I can't. I am physically incapable of spoiling a Neil Breen movie. I've watched those movies how many times? I still don't even know what the
I will
fuck is
explain
going
all
on.
of
I
them.
can't spoil it.
I'll explain everything.
Apparently, one of the movies.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead. Explain a Neil Breen movie.
I
to
will
me.
when we do this Neil Breen movies. This isn't Neil Breen time though. This is now. It's time to talk about how all the captains wear red shirts. Time.
Red shirt.
Yep, they're all red shirts. And then the guy that's in charge of the base, he's wearing a green shirt. That's actually in charge of the defense of Zion.
I'll say this. I kind of wish that the Zion scene was a bit shorter because I don't know. It kind of felt like they kind of robbed the final fight. Kind of.
The whole Zion thing was a cluster fluck. Like, they're like, okay, they're going to break in through this one hole in the ceiling. Why don't they have, like, multiple drills? Why only have one drill? And then their whole solution is to just shoot bullets into this one hole. And I'm just like, I guess that's it. And then they break through. And then the drill falls through to the ground. And then the drill gets back up and starts drilling again. And I'm like, okay, this is the thing that's happening.
The whole scene doesn't make any sense. Not to mention, here's something, like, in the last movie, the general was talking about, or no, actually at the start of this movie somewhere, the general was talking about how he wanted like every single ship he could muster at the dock to defend it, right?
Yep.
And he was saying, like, if it were up to him, he'd put a gun in everybody's hands and march them up there. But like in the whole of that action scene where the Sentinels are invading Zion, I didn't see one fucking ship flying around shooting anything. It was just like sentry guns and dudes in mechs. And really stupid mechs that have no armor on the front to protect the people piloting it. There's more metal behind them than in front of them. They're just naked strapped to the front of a gun with legs.
And we see that too, that the captain just gets shredded by the mechs when they reach him and swarm him.
Yeah, as well he should, because he did not have a fucking window.
Zero protection. Yeah, there was nothing between him and the machines.
Just a slight design flaw.
So much of that fight makes no sense. A bunch of dudes in mechs with no protection at the front. The mechs, like, I think are a little dumb for the purposes they're serving, but like I can get past it. Like just some turrets would have done just as well because they're all focus firing one point. But like I'm okay with it. It's mechs, it's a sci-fi movie, whatever. But they have no frontal armor at all.
I didn't get why the mechs didn't go after the drill. The drill falls down, it lands, and then it starts drilling again. And they're like, let's send a bunch of people in with like rocket launchers to take out the drill. I'm like, can't one or two of the mechs just run over and deal with that?
Right.
Why did we suddenly switch to these rocket launcher people, like doing guerrilla tactics to take it out?
Major issue with the rocket launch, because in one scene, like with both of the girls, you see it get loaded up. The rocket launcher get loaded up once. All right, so that's 2. The container that she is, or the casing that she's carrying to hold these shells, holds 4. And they fire off 2. They go to the next location. They still have 4. Where did the other 2 come from?
Are you sure? Are you sure
they
only
reported
carried
in from Movie Magic World?
Are you sure it only carried 4
Yeah, I looked at
on
it.
her back?
The casing only held 4.
I'd have to relook.
We are now counting shots in an action movie, though.
It's like that dude that's the train conductor, that he's God and where he exists. So
Yeah, like he had that little 6-shooter.
yeah, the 6-shooter.
Fired
He's God.
like 8 or 9.
So this is the same principle. They're gods down in Zion. They can fire as many rockets as they want.
No, another thing about that fight is that they were super hesitant to use an EMP because they're like, if we use an EMP, it'll shut off all of our defenses too. Yeah, but like, so what? If it's also shutting down all the bad guys, you don't need your defenses. When you use the EMP, it doesn't kill the pilots of your mechs, but it will kill the entire invading force because they are entirely mechanical. You have nothing to lose. Just EMP the shit out of them every time something comes in.
And by the time they used the EMP, like, their defenses were gone. Like, all the mechs were destroyed, all of the turrets were destroyed. They were essentially defenseless. And then the green shirt guy's like, what were you doing? What have you done to us? You screwed all of Zion. I'm like, what do you have left for defenses, bro? Like, what do you really have left? You got nothing left. Like, what's the, like, so what if you drop the nuke now?
Right. Like, and you don't even need fucking defenses against these machines. If the EMP works on machines the way it's portrayed to work in these movies, that's the only thing you need. Eventually the robots would just stop trying to invade Zion because they'd figure out, oh, every time we go there, it doesn't matter. They just have an off button for us, so fuck it.
Okay. Kind of need to back up a little bit. Can we discuss Niobe's flying?
Okay, I'll give this to it. I did kind of like her flying sequence.
Right, and the other captain just being shocked, didn't know that his hammer could do any of those maneuvers.
Remember, the people in Zion also said it was impossible what they saw happening on, like, their radar. There's no way someone could actually pilot that.
That was a scene that was like properly set up and paid off. Like at the beginning, they're like, nobody can fly this shit. And she's like, I can, I have, I'll do it again. And then she's doing it, and everyone on board is like, oh my God, she's doing it. That woman can really fucking fly. And she's in there giving it her all. Like, oh, this thing's got a fat ass. And then she's going in, and they scan her, and they're like, it's one of ours, but that can't be right. This is impossible. And then she comes barreling in like a bat out of hell. I mean, it was a good sequence.
It was.
Doesn't save the movie, but it was a good damn sequence.
It was ruined with Link's wife being like, Link's here. How the fuck did she know she was on the hammer?
She had the script,
yeah,
okay?
She
had the fucking script. She looked at the script, she said, oh, my husband's on the hammer. Watch me be super excited.
You're like, oh, it's the hammer. We have to open the door. And Link's wife is like, Link. Except the last time they talked and he took off, he was like, I have to go. Morpheus needs me on the Nebuchadnezzar. So as far as she knows, he's still just on board the Nebuchadnezzar. So then she hears, oh, the hammer's coming into board. And she's like, Link. It's like, no, that is fucking, it could be anybody. What
Psychic.
Mm-hmm.
Unless somewhere between the second and third movie, she found out the Nebuchadnezzar was blown up.
I never accept that in movies. Off-screen answers. Fuck you.
He sent her a text message, okay? That's what happened. I think we've covered enough of Zion, haven't we? Unless you guys want to talk more about all of the people in charge being in, like, bathrobes again.
Goddamn.
I'm just saying, like, the council seems to think they know better about how to, like, run the defenses than the military guys do. I hated that part where they're like, oh, you guys don't know what you're doing. And I'm like, oh, come on. You guys are in bathrobes. Stop trying to make me take you seriously. The military guys are obviously going to be better at this. But then the green shirt does all that stupid shit about the EMPs, and I'm like, okay, this guy's also an idiot. They're right. No one knows what they're doing. The only good military officer, and good is being generous, was the red shirt that got killed.
Yeah.
At least he had a plan that kind of worked. Everyone else is incompetent.
I'd still like to know in those mechs how the hell they were actually aiming them. Because, like, yeah, you could tell that on the guns, there's like scopes, but with how they were shooting it, you really would not be able to see through that scope or the sight.
Yeah. What I want to know is why they don't have a better system for reloading their guns than to just have some poor bastard kid just fucking cart around a Walmart shopping cart of ammunition through no man's land all the way up to the mech to just manually reload the shit.
And the damn thing only has one fucking wheel on it. Like, if it tipped over, he was fucked.
And
yeah,
did
it was
tip
like it was
over.
literally a wheelbarrow of ammo that he had to rush through no man's land to a mech to reload. Like, that is not a reliable system of reloading. Like, never even mind the risk. It's just not something that the mech pilot can even rely on. They'd be like, reload! And it's like, well, I called for it. I guess it's just a fucking coin toss now whether I'm actually going to get more bullets.
It would have made
Well,
more.
like-
It would have made more sense to already have like piles of ammunition out there where they were fighting at, and then just have like a guy out there reloading as they needed it, rather than have them hide over behind like a door and then just open the door and have some guy go out the wheelbarrow.
Hell, it would make just as much sense for the actual pilot to like get out and
It would,
reload
yeah.
it himself. It like just have the ammo next to him, have the pilot get in and out to reload, because as we saw when the one captain gets killed, the kid has to get into his mech. And in a matter of seconds, he apparently removed the body, got into the mech, and got it moving. Like within seconds. So like,
Murphy was a pretty big dude.
yeah, and if the mech pilot's out of ammo, they're not doing anything anyway, so.
It's true. Yeah.
I do like it how when one of the mechs needed to be reloaded, they sent out a dude on his own, no protection, no soldier with one of those nice fancy guns, just all on his own, had to go out there to reload the mech.
I'm pretty
don't
sure
think
I
you-
saw a soldier go out with him.
No, he had a soldier. It's just like all the others, the soldier got fucking nixed.
When the kid got lucky, he got 2 soldiers.
That's because he was important.
Yeah, he was technically a main characters.
So anyway, the dock gets fucking decimated, and they use the EMP to disable everything.
It's super
And
effective too. It kills all
Yep.
the mechs.
Yep.
And then
Why they
Green
don't just do that over and over is beyond me.
And then Green Shirt gets really pissed off about it because apparently knocked out all of their electronics too, but I don't understand. Like, they know how the EMP works. They should be able to build like electronics that just don't have to worry about the EMP. It doesn't seem like
Yeah.
it should be impossible for them to do that.
Now there's one thing I did catch, like after the EMP went off and all that, and the hammer was already in the dock, they were talking about closing up the door or blocking it off.
Yeah, they mentioned that.
What the hell were they going to use? Because the hammer took out part of the door as it came in, so closing the door wasn't going to be an option. How were
I
they
don't
going
know, man.
They were gonna
big
blow it
fuck-
up, I guess. Like we saw them blowing stuff up there to stop their machines from getting in. But I'm like, okay, so you blow it up, but they still have that hole in the ceiling. Like, is
Drills in this?
it was dumb and not well thought out.
Hey, the EMP didn't matter at all with the drill, because once the new Sentinels got in there, they jump-started the motherfucker.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's so dumb. I think it's time to move on to Neo and what he was doing since he had separated from everybody else.
Yeah, Niobe gave him and Trinity the shit Logos, and he was using it to head toward the machine leader in the center of Machine City. And as they're flying towards it, a bunch of giant machine tanks fire Sentinel spitballs at it by the thousands. So Neo holds up his magical Jesus hand, and they all just start exploding. But at some point, he's just like, "There's too many. Pull up."
But remember, by this time also he's blind. Well, technically blind.
True.
He's allegedly blind
But
from getting into a fight with Bane Smith on board the ship because Smith had stowed away on it.
But then they make him see anyway because he's just Jesus or a demon hunter from World of Warcraft. Your choice.
They make him blind only to show us that he can see shit anyway seconds later. So I don't know. I guess they just wanted to have that cool blind samurai thing going on.
Yep, that cool blind demon hunter thing going on.
Yeah, except the thing about that makes those kind of characters cool is that they are actually blind and they rely on other senses to do stuff to great effect, and that's why it's cool. But he just like sees stuff in Matrix vision anyway.
Yep.
So losing his eyesight was just kind of an inconvenience.
Like a slight inconvenience. Like it slowed him down for like a minute and then he's like, okay, it's fine. Moving along, guys.
Hey,
So he tells Trinity to fly up high, and Trinity flies up high, and they see pretty clouds, and she's like, "Oh, beautiful."
Jeez,
And I'll be honest, yes. Well,
the clouds of the sun were not machines, so I doubt Neo was able to see that.
I thought that was a nice little scene, having Trinity see like pretty skies, because presumably like no one has ever seen that in this time, and like or even knows what one would look like. So that was nice.
That is true.
Very soon after, they crash the ship into what I'm assuming is a building in 01, which they talk about in the Animatrix, which is like the first major machine city, because they're presumably at the heart of it. So they crash into 01, and Trinity gets impaled by a half dozen pipes.
Because she wasn't wearing her seatbelt.
She wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
Well, she just got ripped out of her seatbelt.
Neo was wearing a lot of seatbelts. She was not wearing any seatbelts.
So how much came shooting through that cockpit? Neo should have at least gotten hit by at least one of them.
They all came through the driver's side.
Yep.
Neo was like completely unfazed by the crash, really. Like the biggest wound he has on his body after that crash was just still the blindness from his fight with Smith.
Yeah.
And then Trinity dies after a couple minutes of really bad romance dialogue.
6 minutes of talking, so I was able to go out for a cigarette during that time.
Yes.
You didn't miss anything.
So then Neo starts his walk towards, and I'm not making this up, this is what they actually call it in the credits, like the machine leader's name is Deus Ex Machina. They actually just called it that. I'm dead serious. If you look at the credits, the machine leader is called Deus Ex Machina.
That's amazing.
That thing with the little micro machine baby face.
And then he has to take on Smith, which I guess is
God,
become its own thing. Is he like taking over the Matrix?
Smith's plan is to take over the Matrix and the real world. So when Neo goes to Deus Ex Machina, he's like, "Hey, yo, just call off your attack on Zion for a bit and let me take care of Smith because you can't do it and I can." That's basically the deal. So the machine is like, okay. And then they give him a plug into the Matrix and he goes in to fight Agent Smith. A very violent plug. They just jam it right into his head.
God, that would have sucked. Not knowing it was coming. And just...
Why did Smith only fight him with one Smith this time?
Because it's the Oracle Smith. And the Oracle Smith probably didn't waste fucking cigarettes.
The Oracle did enjoy smoking half a cigarette and then kind of just throwing it away, didn't she?
Yeah. She'd take 2-3 puffs on it. It's like, oh, I'm done with this. And she'd rub it out to the point where it wasn't smokable anymore. It's like, no, bitch, quit wasting smokes.
I like how that's your biggest complaint of the movie is that the Oracle kept wasting smokes. Like, this is the thing that's firing you up the most. Like, this is the thing that's making you the angriest.
It's the future. She should be vaping anyway.
Oh.
No. It's 1999 New York. New York, cigarettes, are expensive either way. I understand she's a fucking program, but fuck, she's gotta make some money if she's reporting cigarettes.
Well, vapes didn't come out in the States until later. They existed in Europe for a while before we got them. So I wonder if like Europe had access to them in '99 or anywhere.
It doesn't matter.
No,
Like,
it was maybe there's a European version of the Matrix, and maybe that Oracle vapes instead of smokes.
the cheap knockoff of the Matrix has an Oracle, then she vapes.
When were vape cigarettes invented?
So, well,
Ah,
Trev
fuck.
figures-
2003.
we're safe.
Created in Beijing, China, by a 52-year-old pharmacist and smoker.
That makes sense. That'd be a smoker. But so Neo beats the crap out of Smith, but then Smith beats the crap out of him, and then he's just like,
CG beat the crap out of each other
Yep.
for a while, and do Superman for the quest for peace struggles in the air.
yep, it felt super Superman-y.
And they made it rain and
I don't-
lightning
To cover up
and
bad
the
CG.
Yeah, I felt like this, like they realized from the second movie how bad the CG was, and they're like, we gotta try to cover it up. Let's just make it rainy everywhere.
Because only for a brief
rainy.
second you got to see Neo Colbert.
Like I said, it was super rainy though this time, so it wasn't as noticeable how bad it was.
He was way more Colbert in the second one.
Yeah.
This one, like, it wasn't as noticeable, but it was mostly because of the rain. The only shot that was super CG noticeable to me was when they're both up in the air having a stare down, and Smith just kind of like moves his shoulders up to like adjust his jacket, and I'm like, that was pretty PS2-y.
Yeah. Did anybody notice? It was just for a brief second. I think it was when they were in the crater. The fist camera.
Like, I know what shot you're talking about, but are you talking about noticing an actual camera on screen?
No. It was just like literally like CG Neo's fist, but it was like first person fist view
Oh, yeah.
for just like a brief second.
Slow-mo punch to the face. It was kind of funny seeing Hugo Weaving CG face just melt against a fist.
Yeah, it kind of was.
So basically, the fight ends, and Neo realizes the only way to win is to let Smith assimilate him, which he does. And apparently, this is the connection that the machine leader needs to send a deletion signal, as the wiki calls it, through Neo's body in the real world to the Smiths. And that's how they all explode. And Smith gets deleted.
I feel that there was kind of like a cop out though. Like I was kind of hoping for like a big, like really awesome fight, but no. After the Zion scenes, it only left Neo Smith fight 30 fucking minutes. Well, technically, 25.
Only 20. That's still a long fight.
That's like Star Wars prequels level of fight.
Yeah, that's a really long fight, and just there wasn't much of it that was cool. The only scene in that fight that I think was kind of interesting was when they knock each other into some building and they're inside of it, and you get some slow-mo action of them fighting, throwing kicks and whatnot. But because it's inside, there's no rain or anything, there's no flying around. It's back to bare bones, one-on-one kung fu, and they throw in some slow-mo shots. And they nailed the slow-mo because they used the slow-mo on the moments that Neo, or I should say the actor, Keanu Reeves, where he nails the choreography. Like, he throws some kicks that are just slick as hell, and that's where they slow-mo it, and it was well done.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So you found the one good scene in the third movie where they had good choreography.
Yeah, I found the good 5 seconds out of the 25-minute fight.
Because that is ultimately the problem with the third movie. It really feels like the choreography just got a lot worse compared to the two previous movies.
It has all the same problems as the first one in just being way, way dialogue heavy, without anything interesting or really human to say. But it doesn't have the sequels. It doesn't have Reloaded's good action sequences to break it up. It's subpar action sequences surrounded by bad dialogue.
Like I said, it's they had good choreography in the two previous movies. In this movie, it just feels like whoever they had in charge of choreography was taking a nap.
Yeah, while we were watching it, I brought it up. My favorite example of the bad dialogue is the romance between Trinity and Neo. When Trinity says to Neo, "Not just 6 hours ago, I had a gun pointed to the Merovingian's face, and I was prepared to give up everything for you. Do you know what's changed in the last 6 hours? Nothing." And the problem with that is that is not a thing humans say. That is the equivalent of an action movie one-liner, you know? That's the kind of thing you'd expect to hear out of like an 80s action movie star's mouth, you know? Do you know what's changed in the last 6 hours? Nothing. It's a fucking one-liner being used as romantic dialogue. It's horrible.
It was pretty bad, but it was funny in a bad kind of way.
I just thought of something kind of funny. Imagine you're walking onto set of Matrix Revolution, not really knowing what's going on, and you see a bunch of dudes in mechs looking up into the sky, screaming at nothing.
Yeah, there would have been a lot of green screen for this movie.
A lot.
I miss the practical effects of the first one.
Right?
Like I
Like
said,
the only CG that was really used in the first one was with like building or glass shattering, and at the end when Neo becomes the one. But other than that, like
and bullets flying through the air. Like there was CG used in the first one, and it was used plenty enough, but it was always in service of the effect. It wasn't the effect. You know what I mean? In this one, like Smith and Neo fight, and half the time the characters themselves are CG. The background is CG. The whole shot, all of it is just CG. When CG was used in the first one, it's because there was a real shot with CG effects to back it up.
You know, I kind of wish that Matrix Revolutions. Like, I understand this came out after the movie, but I kind of liked. I can't remember which game it was, but the final fight between Neo and Smith. Smith in the game becomes like a giant Smith. Like all the Smiths just merge together to make one giant Smith.
Wait, which game was this in? Enter them or not a Path of Neo?
I think it was either Path of Neo or Enter the Matrix. One of those.
Yeah. I don't remember this at all. It must have been Path of Neo because I only played a little bit of that. I played all of Enter the Matrix.
Then yeah, it must have been Path of Neo, but no, like they all merge to make one giant Smith that you have to fight.
There's a Transformer Smith in the game.
Basically, yeah, like all those Smiths in the city just merge together, and it's like, what? This didn't happen in the movie. It would have been kind of cool, but this didn't happen in the movie. What the fuck, game?
Go Agent Smith. I think if they would have done that in the movie, it would have been way too over the top.
It would have been, I think, a little too cheesy, yeah. A little too B movie if they'd done that. It probably would have made the movie funner, though.
So Neo sacrifices himself to send the deletion protocol to Smith. All the Smiths die. The machines call off the attack and agree to like an armistice, I guess.
I guess that's what happens. They really don't explain.
I mean, technically, after Neo does all of that and he's quote unquote like dead or whatever, he's just kind of a hood ornament for them right now. But the machines could have just went back to attacking Zion, and Neo would have been none the wiser.
Well, I mean, maybe we'll find out in the Matrix 4.
Ah, yes, the Matrix 4.
Yeah, it's time to talk about our thoughts for what's going to happen in the Matrix 4.
What I'm honestly like, there's a few theories out there for it. One, it's going to be a prequel.
I don't think it'll be a prequel.
Or the other one,
pre the Matrix. Keanu Reeves's character was not aware of or a part of the Matrix in any way.
Well, no,
he was
not a prequel to the first one, but like people are thinking that it's going to be like a movie between the first and second.
I really doubt that. All the characters have aged umpteen. Besides, at the end of
That doesn't
Revolution,
stop for like
a whole movie with centered around those characters.
true.
Now, at the end of Revolutions, the Oracle tells the little girl, Sati, that she thinks they'll see Neo again.
Holy crap! You remember the little girl's name?
I'm on the wiki page.
Oh.
I would not have otherwise.
But then there's this other theory that all of the ones, even before Neo, were Neo. So they're saying basically all the ones are a variation of Neo.
But they weren't. Seraph was one of the ones, and he wasn't Neo, he was Seraph.
Has that been proven, though?
Yeah. Yeah. Seraph was an X1.
But how would that be possible if the duty of the one is to go to the source and re-enter his program, hence deleting him?
Well, we'll probably find out in the sequel where the one that went to the source and got deleted comes back. I'm putting in my 2 cents. It's not a prequel in any way. All the characters have aged. The story centers around these characters. They're not going to be CG the whole time like Tarkin or Leia. They can't be. The whole movie's about them. So they're going to be aged. They're going to be in the movie, and they're going to be back.
But like, I can at least kind of understand maybe Neo, but how Trinity?
That I have no idea about, because I know Carrie Ann Moss is cast.
Yeah, she's in it and she is playing Trinity, but like, it's like I can at least understand Neo because it was never really fully specified if he actually died. Like I understand the deletion program went through him, but it's never specified if he died.
Yeah, Carrie Ann Moss has got to actually be in it because I've seen a filming picture of her riding a motorcycle with Neo holding on to her in the back seat. And it's not something you see in any of the other movies. Neo has a beard. They're both aged, and they're doing something they haven't done before, and they're both alive.
Or, and hear me out on this. This is kind of a long shot. John Wick is the next one.
Yeah,
That's what all of us are going to be thinking in the back of our mind.
No, it makes sense. The John Wick movies merge into the Matrix movies, and in this fourth Matrix movie, they bring it all together.
And the only reason why he has a beard, or he's going to have a beard in the fourth one, is because he's contracted to keep it because of he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was doing the Matrix 4 and John Wick Chapter 4 at the same time.
Whoa, hold on. I'm on Google right now. I just typed in Matrix Forecast, and there's a guy named, and I apologize because I'm probably gonna butcher his name, but I'm gonna give it a go. Yahya Abdul Mateen II has been he has been cast as young Morpheus.
Oh,
and Neil Patrick Harris is cast with no character name, just Neil Patrick. Maybe he's just Neil Patrick Harris as himself.
Maybe he's the next Merovingian.
No, because Lambert Wilson's cast as Merovingian.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, Jada Pinkett Smith will be back as Niobe. So Neo's there, Trinity's there, Niobe's there for people we know. Merovingian. There's going to be an Agent Johnson. Played by Daniel Bernhardt. He's further back on the cast list, though. And everybody else that's been cast hasn't been given a character name yet on Google.
Technically, Agent Johnson was in Matrix Reloaded, because I was looking at the cast after we watched that or did the podcast for that one, and one of the super agents is named Agent Johnson.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think they just give the agents random names. Because, like, the two agents that you see most in that movie, they had names.
So this guy's likely just playing an agent?
More than likely.
Okay, because, yeah, there's a lot of names in here, but they haven't given us character names yet, I guess, because they don't want us to know who they're playing.
I'm kind of curious as to why a young Morpheus. Did like Fishburne be like, no, I'm done with the Matrix?
Let's see. I'm not seeing him for the movie on IMDb.
Young Morpheus. Why would there be a young Morpheus? Are we sure? Are we sure this can be like Morpheus's son? Could that be a thing?
It says young Morpheus.
And that's what I'm saying. Like he named his son Morpheus. He's Morpheus the second.
I'm just gonna go with young Morpheus.
Nope, going with Morpheus the second.
There's going to be a flashback scene where you see young Morpheus.
Oh, that's possible too. Yeah, we get a flashback.
Would be kind of out of the ordinary because there's never been a flashback in any of the Matrix movies, so it'd be a little weird to do a flashback.
Like I said, man, I think my this is Morpheus the second idea is the only thing I can think of that makes sense. We'll see what happens.
But I'm honestly kind of looking forward to seeing the Matrix 4 and hoping that it's not going to be a complete train wreck like Reloaded and Revolution.
Yeah, there's a ton of goodwill toward the Matrix movie that's coming out. It's like everyone's super hyped for the new Matrix that's coming out because everybody loved the Matrix, and there's still just I guess time gave everybody a lot of goodwill toward the franchise, despite the last two of its three entries being, you know?
Yeah.
Look at how many bad Star Wars movies there's been, but people still defend the franchise.
Or who knows? We could be completely off base, and Matrix 4 could actually be like a fucking reboot or something. Just with keeping Neo and Trinity the same.
If they did a reboot, I'd be super pissed. I don't want reboots. They're disgusting.
Well, Hollywood has been doing reboots of very popular older movies, and they're scheduled to release in the next couple of years. So I would not be shocked.
I haven't heard anything about it being a reboot, though. Like, when they went to reboot Ghostbusters, they were very straightforward, like, reboot, and everyone's like, ugh. Okay, not reboot. It's a soft reboot. I'm like, shut up. Stop it.
Not gonna lie, I was kind of hoping to get Trev on another reboot tangent.
I mean, if you're talking about a reboot the show from Cartoon Network, there's not much more to say. To avoid.
But yeah, as far as I can tell, they've been keeping it under wraps quite a bit with what is really going on with the Matrix 4. Everything I've found has been more gossip than anything else.
Yeah, like I've just been hearing small little tidbits. I'm not even sure if any of what I've been hearing is true, or like I've just been hearing people's thoughts and theories on it. And it's like, well, I don't know.
I prefer it this way. This is always, I hate it when all these movies go out and they just throw the entire plot at you in like the trailer, and it's like, okay, I know what's gonna happen in the movie. Thanks, guys.
Right? I fucking hate when that happens. But like, so I hope like when trailers do start getting released, it's just little sneak peeks. You know, it's not really giving much away, but just showing enough to get you enticed.
Well, I keep seeing official trailers on YouTube, but from what I can tell, none of them are real, but they all have the title, they all have the words official in the title, and I'm like, okay, guys, like, I don't think any of this is actually...
Oh, I've seen shit like that before, and like it's always been like scenes from like other movies, just kind of
it does
edited in the right way.
Mm-hmm. That's what it seems like, and I'm really annoyed. It's like, come on, guys, just say fan trailer. Come on.
Yeah, that's all that's out right now are fan trailers. When an actual trailer hits, the internet will explode, and we will all know about it.
Yes, we will.
It's super annoying, but that's what we got to deal with. Do we have anything else to cover? Because, like, yeah, we just maybe in the future we'll know more about the fourth Matrix, but
yeah, maybe once a little more information comes out, we can maybe further the discussion a little. Because right now it's just theories and hypotheticals at this point.
Like, I'm gonna put out my final theory is, I guess since it was a dream. I don't know. Like the third movie was a dream. I don't know how else they're gonna do it.
I'm gonna say my theory, which is very weak, But what I think will happen is it's not a dream. The third movie happened. It's not a prequel. This one will happen after the third movie. And the characters that are dead will come back by some contrived science fiction-y bullshit.
Who knows? Maybe the machines ended up saving Trinity for whatever reason.
That would fit into what I said, I think.
So we
Yeah.
get like a mecha Trinity.
No, I don't think she'll be mecha, because in the motorcycle picture I was talking about with her, she's very human.
Nope, I want mecha Trinity.
Or maybe she was cloned.
Or maybe she has a twin sister we just didn't know of, also named Trinity.
She's the Black Ray.
I guess we'll find out when we get there. Any other closing thoughts?
No, I got nothing else.
Okay, I guess we'll call it a night, boys.
I guess that's it. Everything that has a beginning has an end. I've been Trevis. One time I fucked up Easy Mac. Bye.